Hello, welcome to this week's episode of Tokusatsu Thursdays podcast. Today we're reviewing 8 Man, the 1992 live action anime film, which is based off the 1960s anime. It's directed by Yasuhiro Horiuchi and stars Joe Shishido as Dr. Tani, Kai Shishido as Azuma, Toshihide Wakamatsu as Yasoda or Yoyoda. Oh my god, Yakoda. That's his name. I forget to get. They don't have his name here, and you have Etsushi Takahashi as Inspector Tanaka. Right, which is one of the reasons why I watched this movie because Toshihide Wakamatsu is in the film, and for people who don't know, he was Guy from Jetman, right? Which is the black Power Ranger, right? Which Jetman was almost the first season of Power Rangers. It lost to Zoo Ranger because Zoo Ranger probably, better outfits and is debatable, but definitely had better mechs. Right. So this film, I watched it on YouTube in English dubbed. Apparently, Carl Masick from Robotech had the movie dubbed and released in the West to a very mixed audience because for people who don't know, 8 Man is a superhero who was a cop who became a crime-fighting cyborg, right? So obviously, people thought this movie was a ripoff of RoboCop, not understanding that it was probably the opposite. Because apparently, 8 Man did play in the West. The anime did play in the West, right? Which a lot of people think it wasn't until like the 90s where people started bringing Japanese stuff over. That's not true. In the 60s and 70s, you had like people were bringing over like Japanese stuff and redubbing them, like Astro Boy, Kiba the White Lion, Giant Robo, which was the name was changed to Johnny Sacco and his flying robot. Like Ultraman, lots of stuff was being brought over to the West during the 60s and 70s, right? Though I would need to confirm when the original 8 Man came out. So like the movie is about and the movie starts off very confusing because you have this old man narrating while 8 Man is fighting a bunch of gangsters or yakuza, right? Which 8 Man's costume, besides from the face, looks amazing, but he has this like rubber face. Rubber face. At first I thought they just painted the actor's face, but it's not until like the end of the movie where you see 8 Man in broad daylight where you realize, oh, he has a crappy rubber face that gives him like this sharp like nose, and it's like, holy crap. Oh my god, whose idea was that? His face looks effing terrible, to be honest, right? But yeah, like you have like Inspector Tanaka, who's narrating, right? And at first you're like, is that 8 Man's voice? They got an old man's voice, 8 Man. No. It's 8 Man's boss, right? Which is a cop who was going to retire, right? But ends up staying on after his young detective partner gets killed by a hitman of the mob boss they're trying to take down, which that person happened to be played by Toshihide Wakamatsu, right? And Tanaka, feeling guilty over his death, takes him to Dr. Tani, who's a cybernetics scientist, and he uses what was his name? Yokota''s body as the basis for his cyborg Ape-Man, which he changes his face and wipes his memories, right? And the reason it's funny because I watched the 1990s Ape-Man anime film Ape-Man After, which is like a sequel to the original series. They never explained in that film why he's called Ape-Man. Here they explained why Ape-Man's name is Ape-Man, because Ape-Man is a reference to the fact that there's like in the Japanese police department, there's 7 divisions. So he's called Ape-Man because he's like he's like the secret 8th division. That's a one-man like squad, right? So he gets a new identity as Ozma, who is like gets a new identity as Ozma, the private detective, and not realizing that when he hired his secretary, she actually was the fiance of Yokota, right? And she starts to get relationships, like a relationship going with Ozma, but like, you know, Ozma is tortured because, you know, he's a robot and he can't return her affections, right? There's 2 other subplots. You have the plot where Yokota's old partner, who used to have a thing for his girlfriend, right? It has this fucking death wish where he works undercover to take down Yamafuji, who is the crime boss, right? Who had Yokota killed. And there's also a subplot where there's where Tawny's first rope cyborg, Ken, who's a serial killer, discovers Ape-Man and wants to destroy Ape-Man, right? Or does he? Right? Which you find out his backstory is that he was the son of Dr. Tawny, who after his parents got divorced, got into drugs and alcohol and was running with gangs, died in a drunk car accident, and then Dr. Tawny brought him back to life, right? Hold up a sec. Sorry, I had the cough. Let's go into my likes and dislikes for the film. Oh, I forgot to mention Ape-Man's special abilities is that he has super speed and enhanced strength, but he has like this device that lets him change his appearance, but he is not bulletproof. Twice in the film, like Yamafuji's Trigger Man, shoots him like dead twice, and then like Dr. Tawny fixes him, right? And it's just like I forgot to mention that. And also, Ken, the other cyborg in the film, has also the same abilities, except for he has some kind of weird telekinesis. How the hell do you get? Yeah, he has this weird telekinesis, and at the end of the film, they have this battle on this hill that's supposed to be like a grave, and there's this white cross. Like the movie, like some of the cinematography, like they were trying to like borrow like they were trying to borrow like shots from like not necessarily like they were stealing shots from John Woo films, but if you ever saw early John Woo films, he likes to have shots where like the most famous one was like doves and, you know, like crosses and shit. But like they were kind of borrowing that idea. And there's like a shot where there's a funeral, right? Like people are leaving a funeral, and it's like it's raining, and they have black umbrellas. They're all wearing black outfits, but you have like these 2 rows of people like leaving this funeral, and you have in the middle, the girlfriend character has a white umbrella and is walking toward, like, in the opposite direction of the two crowds, and it's like obviously they were trying to do something artistic there. I don't know. If you're like, maybe they should have given her a white outfit too, because it's like she was wearing this like gray overcoat and like, yeah, and like it's just like they didn't commit to that, honestly. But yeah, what did I think? Okay, let's go to likes and dislikes of the film. The music was great, except for the butt rock scene where like the characters are all sad because a character dies, and they played this like Guns N' Roses rip-off like sound like song, which is apparently by Milkbone. I never heard of them. Right? Like 8-Man's face on his costume looks fucking terrible. It's like a rubber face. This looks fucking bad, dude. He looked like his nose and his rubber face reminded me of that one fucking alien from Deep Space Nine. Not Quark, is it? I don't fucking know. Quark? I don't know. The guy who was, the chief of security, right? He was like a changeling. He could change his form. And then they went to war with the changelings, and then people were like, this motherfucker, we can't trust him. Wait, was Quark the Ferengi guy? I can't remember. Ferengi. Oh my god. But yeah, we're not here to talk. This isn't Rather Media where we just go on like fucking this fucking Star Trek tangents, random Star Trek tangents, right? One problem, other problems with the movie, not a lot of action, lots of melodrama, and the special effects. The special effects, like at the end of the film, was bullshit. Because it's like there's like explosions, there's digital fire effects on this like hill with all the crosses, right? And then once the battle is over, you see no damage to the landscape at all. To their fake fucking like fake fucking graveyard that they had made, because like there's no names or pictures on the crosses, so obviously it's not a real fucking graveyard. So there's like no battle damage to this like to this battleground where they're having this epic battle where there's flames everywhere, explosions, right? 8-Man kills Ken with a punch to the head, and there's like no battle damage at all. Oh my god. Yeah, but overall, I thought the movie was good. It was well written. It's just some of the practical stuff was not great. And the movie, the night scenes, like, holy fuck, the film is super fucking dark. I don't know if it's just the copy I watched it on YouTube, right? But it was super fucking dark. All the like scenes where like he's fighting in dark buildings and shit, and the night scenes, like, were not like, holy fuck, you could barely see shit. And then there's the fact that like 8-Man, one of 8-Man's weaknesses is that he overheats. Right? And he apparently smoking cools him down. It acts like a tranquilizer or some fucking shit. So he's constantly chain smoking throughout the fucking film, even when he hasn't transformed and fight in a while. And to the point where in the middle of the battle, at the end of the movie, he grabs his cigarette and smokes it when he's surrounded by fucking fire. I don't think you're gonna be able to like cool down while you're in the midst of all that flame. Maybe you should get out of the fucking flame. And there's also the fact that he brings his like secretary. There's a point in the film where Tanaka gets kidnapped, and he goes to rescue Tanaka, and he brings his girlfriend, the secretary chick, with him while they're to a dangerous situation where there's going to be gunfights and like fist fighting. So that was dumb, but overall, I like the movie. It has its problems, but I think the film is worth watching. So I'm giving it, six, 6 out of 10, right? So yeah, that's it for this week's episode of Tokusatsu Thursdays. If you guys have any suggestions, let me know in the comment section. But like, preferably pick shit that's on either Tubi or on YouTube, which there's lots of Tokusatsu stuff on YouTube and BitChute. Sorry, on Tubi, not BitChute. All right, peace.